Here is an example of using the sum and difference identities. We have to use the sum and difference identities to find the tangent of negative 105 degrees and also to find the sine of 15 degrees. I'm going to start with the sine of 15 degrees. Well, 15 degrees is not a known angle to me as far as the unit circle goes. So what I'm going to do is come up with two angles that are known to me as far as the unit circle goes to make it equal to 15. So I'm going to think of the sine of 15 degrees. I'm going to start here. The sine of 15 degrees, I'm going to make that equal to the sine of 45 degrees minus 30 degrees. 45 degrees and 30 degrees are known angles as far as the unit circle goes. So I'm going to rewrite 15 as this difference of two angles, and then I'm going to apply a formula. So here it is generically the sine of A minus B is equal to the sine of A times the cosine of B minus the cosine of A times the sine of B. I have not memorized this formula. I'm not going to make you guys memorize this formula. You just have to know how to use it and when to use it. So I've rewritten sine of 15 degrees as the sine of 45 minus 30. I'm going to apply this formula. 45 is A, 30 is B. This is how I'm going to think of this. So the sine of 45 degrees minus 30 degrees is going to equal to the sine of 45 degrees times the cosine of 30 degrees minus the cosine of 45 degrees times the sine of 30 degrees. Now I'm going to remember what these values are. So if this is 30 degrees, these are the values that go with that. The sine of 30 is 1/2. I didn't write that big enough. Here are the sine and cosine. The sine of 30 is 1/2, so that goes in the y coordinate place. And the cosine of 30 is the square root of 3 over 2. That goes in the x coordinate. 45, these are both in quadrant 1, so it's positive, positive. This is 45 degrees. This is square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. So now I can just go in and write in the values. The sine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. The cosine of 30 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2, minus, because of this minus. The cosine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. And the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. The square root of 2 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Minus, square root of 2 times 1 is the square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. I can write this as one fraction. This is, oops, I'm sorry, I can write this as one fraction. The square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4. This is what the sine of 15 degrees equals to. All right, for the tangent, I'm going to choose to do it a little bit differently. I wanted to look at this in a different way. If I have to find the tangent of negative 105 degrees, I'm going to decided to rewrite this. And again, this is just one possible way of rewriting this angle. There are infinitely many different ways to do this correctly. But the way that I chose to do this is to look at this as the tangent of negative 60 degrees minus 45 degrees. So my first angle is going to be a negative angle, and my second one's a positive angle. So this would be tangent of A minus B is how I'm thinking of this, where A is negative 60 degrees and B is positive 45 degrees. This is just one way you could do this. So the tangent of A minus B is equal to the tangent of A minus the tangent of B over 1 plus the tangent of A times the tangent of B. Again, I'm not memorizing this formula. I'm copying it off a sheet and going to use it when I need to. So if I write this in terms of my angles, the tangent of negative 60 degrees minus 45 degrees is equal to the tangent of negative 60 minus the tangent of positive 45 degrees all over 1 plus the tangent of negative 60 degrees times the tangent of 45 degrees. All right, right now I'm going to draw my unit circle and figure out what I need to know. 45 degrees is right here. It has the x, this is 45. It has square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2 as its xy coordinates, sine and cosine. So the tangent of 45 degrees is defined to be the sine of 45 degrees over the cosine of 45 degrees, which is going to result in a 1. Okay, negative 60 degrees is down here. So this is negative 60 degrees. This is in quadrant 4. So x is going to be positive, y is going to be negative. The x is 1/2. The y is negative the square root of 3 over 2. This is got a reference angle of 60. So that's how we can figure out our xy coordinates because we're familiar with our unit circle. So this would be the sine, this is the cosine, and this is the sine. So the tangent of negative 60 degrees is equal to the sine over the cosine, which is going to be negative square root of 3 over 2 over 1/2. You can keep, change, flip, or you could multiply the numerator and denominator by 2, and you're going to get a negative square root of 3 as that value. Now I just go and plug these values into this identity. This is equal to the tangent of negative 60 degrees, or negative square root of 3, minus the tangent of 45 degrees minus 1 over 1 plus the tangent of negative 60 degrees, negative square root of 3, times the tangent of 45 degrees, 1. I have negative square root of 3 minus 1 over 1 minus the square root of 3. It looks as if something will cancel here, but nothing will cancel here. You could factor out a negative from the numerator, giving you positive square root of 3 plus 1, or 1 plus the square root of 3, over 1 minus the square root of 3. But this is our answer. The only thing I could do here, and I will do this, I have to travel over here to get some space, is rationalize the denominator. So I shouldn't have distributed, factored out that negative. I'm going to distribute it back. It's going to be negative 1 minus the square root of 3 over 1 minus the square root of 3 times the conjugate of the denominator, 1 plus the square root of 3 over 1 plus the square root of 3. And here is all of this multiplication. In the numerator, negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. I have negative square root of 3. Negative 1 times square root of 3 is negative square root of 3, giving me a negative 2 square root of 3. A negative square root of 3 times a positive square root of 3 is going to be a negative 3. This is my numerator. In the denominator, 1 times 1 is 1. My inner is negative square root of 3. My outer is positive square root of 3. Those sum to 0 because they're conjugates. Negative square root of 3 times positive square root of 3 is a negative 3. In my numerator, negative 1 plus negative 3 is negative 4 minus 2 square root of 3. In my denominator, I have 1 plus negative 3, which is negative 2. Now I'm going to factor some things out. From the numerator, I will factor out a negative 2. If I factor out a negative 2 from negative 4, I'm left with a positive 2 plus the square root of 3. This is all over negative 2. Negative 2 goes into negative 2 one time. My final answer is 2 plus the square root of 3. This is what the tangent of negative 105 degrees is equal to.